is a presentation of HBO Sports.
This fight has been a long, long time coming, but now the time has arrived.
Boom! That's what heavyweights are supposed to do.
Wladimir is a great champion. He's been a champion for such a long time now. He's been unbeaten in 11 years, I believe. And I have to give credit to the older champion for taking on a challenge like myself.
Wladimir Klitschko simply separated him from his senses.
But I believe he has never faced a challenge like me ever before, and I don't believe he'll ever face a challenge like me again.
Dr. Steelhammer continues to reign supreme.
I'm interested in all the titles, all them belts you've got on there. I'm interested in breaking your face in. That's what I'm interested in.
Klitschko has an 11th round knockout victory.
You're boring. I want to rid you out of the heavyweight division. I am the new blood in the division. You are an old man.
Down goes Wladimir on another left hook. And that may be the one from which he does not get up.
Listen, history does not lie. History says all old champions move over for the new ones. I am the new one.
The only thing that really matters is the fight on the night. And that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to.
Here we go. Here we go. The heavyweight championship of the world is coming to you live from Dusseldorf, Germany. Located along the Rhine River on the western edge of the country, this harbor city is both a fine arts and manufacturing center. And there, Wladimir Klitschko, universally recognized as the legitimate heavyweight champion, will go up against the tallest opponent of his career in reportedly 6'9" Tyson Fury. Almost 45,000 people have come to the Esprit Arena tonight to see if Fury can be the man to finally topple Klitschko from his perch. In so much of the pre-fight talk and hype, Tyson Fury has attempted to get under Wladimir's skin like perhaps no other opponent in Klitschko's 67 previous fights. Let's take a look at the run-up to this fight.
I'm interested in all the titles, all them belts you've got on there. I'm interested in breaking your face in. You're boring. I want to rid you out of the heavyweight division. History does not lie. History says all old champions move over for the new ones. I am the new one. And I don't care about all the fights. I don't care about going down in history. I don't care about being a role model. And I couldn't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me, to be honest. I care about beating you. No doubt in my mind, I can't beat Wladimir Klitschko. Is there anybody here who doesn't think I'm putting Vlad into retirement? I didn't believe this fight was going to happen for a long, long time. I'm coming, and I'm coming very fast for you, Vlad. Old guy, young guy, old champion, new champion.
This is not first time that I'm fighting in Düsseldorf. I've done very long way in many years and many fighters that I faced that were different, and this time I have very colorful guy.
Oh, it smells good too. Who looks the biggest? Who looks the heaviest? Who looks the smartest?
Jim Lampley along with Max Kellerman and Roy Jones as we look back at yesterday's Klitschko-Fury weigh-in. Noteworthy because Fury, who has entered the ring for some of his fights at 270 pounds plus and commonly is over 260, was exceptionally light for him yesterday at 246 plus. Klitschko, who chose to be a little bit lighter than usual this past summer for his meeting with Bryant Jennings in New York, chose to be a little bit heavier here. So all in all, Klitschko at 245 plus, Fury at 246 plus, scant 1 pound difference between the two of them coming into the fight. Here's a look at some recent weigh-in weights for Tyson Fury, who, as we mentioned, has weighed as much as 274 pounds in his 4th round TKO over Joey Abel, and yesterday chose to weigh in at 246.4. And here's Klitschko, 1.1 pound lower than Fury at yesterday's weigh-in, but 3.8 pounds higher than his chosen weight against Bryant Jennings this past summer. Against Jennings and Povetkin, skilled boxers who could move, Klitschko chose to be in the 241s. Against other opponents, slower and more likely knockout target type victims, he weighed a little bit more. We are at the mercy of German television now for the mechanics of this particular program. Normally in the United States, we would be the primary telecast network and the fighters would walk to the ring at the moment when we wanted them to do so. But in Dusseldorf, Germany, it is a German television network which originates, and they have control of the event, so the fighters will walk to the ring when the German television network tells them to do so, and we will respond accordingly. Max Kellerman, Wladimir Klitschko comes in against one of the most unusual opponents of his career and tries basically in the build-up to the fight to maintain calm, detachment, and cool.
Well, this is old hat for Wladimir Klitschko. David Hay, actually, I thought riled him up more than another British contender for his title, riled him up more than Fury has. But so he weighs what he weighs. It's always in more or less the same range. You pointed out that against the smaller, kind of quicker guys, he's usually a little lighter. But I think Tyson Fury's weight indicates that he knows, in spite of what he's been saying, that Wladimir is different from everyone else he's fought, that this is a new experience for him, that he has to do something special in preparation. Klitschko, this is the millionth time he's done this. At this point, I think he looks at his contenders and thinks this is just, another guy.
You might wonder about the wisdom of trying to get under the skin of a 39-year-old fighter who has already had 67 prize fights and is making his 28th appearance in a heavyweight title fight. But Roy Jones, there are still many opponents who start from the premise that Klitschko is basically a nervous, insecure fighter and that they can rock his confidence if they say just the right thing to get under his skin.
Yeah, anytime you got a guy who has only lost 3 times, but each time has been by knockout, then there's some that gives you reason to believe that there's some doubt still somewhere in the back of his mind. Your goal is to try to go out and induce that doubt back in his mind if it's not there. If it is there, bring it forth. Make him start thinking about the things that happened to him in the past that made him feel vulnerable or made him seem vulnerable to the naked eye.
And let's set up one possible tactical ploy for Fury, who has chosen to fight southpaw against several opponents and freely switches back and forth from conventional to southpaw in many of his fights. Looking back at what Tony Thompson accomplished against Wladimir Klitschko in their first meeting 7 years ago. Thompson, slightly taller than Wladimir and not quite as tall as Fury, but a southpaw fighter was able to land his jab with frequency and wound up landing by CompuBox count an equal number of punches to Wladimir Klitschko in the fight. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, Max Kellerman, we asked Fury, would he consider staying in the southpaw stance all the way, and he seemed to say, not a bad idea.
Yeah, Thompson tried to turn it into a kind of an ugly fight, and because of the southpaw style and his size, I would say, you could see he had some success in their first go-round. And Tyson Fury must believe not only is he slightly larger than Thompson, but he has to believe that he's more talented, and so why not do the same thing?
Ultimately, it was a knockout win for Klitschko, but there is a sense on the part of many opponents, Roy Jones, that maybe Vladimir's less secure against a southpaw stance rather than a conventional stance.
Yeah, it seems he may be a little less secure. I think Michael Moore beat him too, right? I mean, it was Chris Bird. And Chris Bird was a southpaw. So being that Chris Bird beat him, and he's one southpaw, Corey Sanders was a southpaw, 2 of the losses are to southpaw opponents.
No, he didn't lose to Chris Bird.
It was Vitali.
No, it was Vitali. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Well, anyway, Corey Sanders was southpaw, right?
Right. Yes, that's exactly right. He had difficulty against Corey Sanders. He had some difficulty against Tony Thompson. Those are the bases of the premise that southpaw fighters can get in trouble.
One note about heavyweights being knocked out nowadays, and we saw this with Lennox Lewis, and now we're seeing it with Wladimir. I think in today's era of 240 and 50-pound heavyweights, if you stick around long enough in that division, you're going to get knocked out probably a couple of times.
A counterpoint to the argument that Tyson Fury might be able to discomfit Wladimir Klitschko with the southpaw stance, of course, is the fact that Klitschko is one of the biggest hitters, if not the biggest hitter in the division. And Fury was put on the canvas by career cruiserweight Steve Cunningham, who weighed about 214 pounds at the moment at which he fought Tyson Fury, and nevertheless, with a right hand over the top, was able to put Fury on his back on the canvas. That suggests, Roy Jones, that there is a chin problem for Fury going in against Wladimir.
Yeah, it does suggest that there's a chin problem, and it does suggest that maybe he won't take the punches so well coming from a much bigger, stronger guy being Wladimir Klitschko. However, you do have to realize that Steve Cunningham was a cruiserweight, and it could have been a little more velocity or a little more speed on that punch, and maybe he couldn't see it coming, whereas with another heavyweight his size, he may have a better chance.
The way Cunningham threw the right hand over the top, he didn't see it coming, but the thing about Klitschko is he's so quick and straight with those shots that you don't see it coming.
Wladimir Klitschko, a solid favorite over Tyson Fury today as Klitschko tries to pursue continued buildup of numbers from his long tour of duty in the heavyweight division, which gives him a chance to equal or best some of the most hallowed records in the division. Meanwhile, another element of Wladimir Klitschko's long-term development as a fighter has been the trainer progression. He began under the training of Fritz Sedunik of Germany and then moved to Emanuel Stewart, and it was really Stewart who made Wladimir a dominant presence in the heavyweight division. Emanuel Stewart died in October of 2012. Since that time, Wladimir Klitschko has been trained by former Emanuel Stewart heavyweight Jonathan Banks, and from these numbers you see that although the numbers aren't significantly different, it does appear Wladimir throws slightly larger numbers of power punches and lands slightly larger numbers of power punches with Banks, and with jabs, one fewer jab, landing one more under Stewart. These numbers are so inconsequential or unconvincing that it doesn't show us that there's any major difference, but maybe Vladimir's just a little more aggressive under Jonathan Banks.
You know, what that shows me is that Emanuel Stewart, being the teacher, was more disciplined with the jab, and he always knew that the jab was the best weapon for Klitschko, for Wladimir. So with that being said, I'm sure he was much more of a jabber with Emanuel, and probably takes a little bit more risk with Stewart, with
Banks.
Banks, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that a great trainer can also be a great cornerman, but those two ideas are sometimes conflated. Emanuel Stewart was a great trainer, and Banks is a very good trainer too. But I think the real difference with Emanuel was when a fighter got back to his corner, as Wladimir did with Emanuel sometimes, and there was a rocky patch, a rough patch. And Emanuel says everything's fine. He believes it because it's Emanuel Stewart saying it.
We remind you that we're not in control of the mechanics of this particular sports event. We're waiting for the fighters to walk to the ring. The cue will be given to them by the German television network, which is originating the fight, so we are at their mercy. If you're a veteran fan of sports events and you say to yourself at home, aha, Lampley and Kellerman and Jones are filling here, that's right, we're filling as we wait to see the fighters walk to the ring. So assuming that will happen soon, let's take a look at the tail of the tape for Wladimir Klitschko against Tyson Fury. 12-year age advantage for Fury, and a 3-inch height advantage according to the measurements that have been provided by Fury's camp. But when we see videotape of these two fighters standing together in the build-up to the fight, we do not see a 3-inch height difference. It's maybe an inch or an inch and a half. Fury's reach is measured at 85. This is the traditional reach measurement. In essence, a wingspan, and his wingspan is 4 inches longer than that of Wladimir Klitschko. And once again, the weights, you saw the 1.1 pound difference earlier on between Klitschko, 245.3, slightly heavy for him based on some previous weight choices coming into the ring. Tyson Fury, 226.4, noteworthily light for him, and maybe that's because this fight was postponed from October 24 to November 28 because of a Klitschko calf injury. And en route to the fight, Max Kellerman, Tyson Fury insists to us he has trained for 5 consecutive months with only 1 2-week break in the middle of all that, and that he sparred 600 rounds in build-up for the fight.
That's unheard of. And Roy, I want to pick your brain. I mean, 600 rounds, when you think about it, that breaks down to 50 12-round fights. Have you ever heard of that? Is that possible?
The only person I've heard of that being done with is maybe somebody like James Toney. That's all he did to get in shape, though. So I can't see myself, this guy sparring 600 rounds in a 5-month span, no matter who he was fighting. If he did, then maybe he did some technical rounds where he worked on fighting southpaw, other rounds where he just worked on his jab. Maybe he did different things, but 600 all-out sparring rounds would definitely be too much for any professional fight.
Much has been made of the fact that Fury measures out supposedly at 6'9" and is the tallest opponent of Klitschko's career. Let's take a look at what Wladimir has done against opponents who were over 6 feet 5 inches tall. And you can see Marcus Bach was 6'7.5", Ray Austin was 6'6", Jameel McCline was 6'6", Derek Jefferson was 6 feet 6, Tony Thompson was 6 feet 5, and Marco Pianetta was 6 feet 5, and at every one of those fights he was the winner, and 6 times he was the winner by knockout. You saw the picture of Wladimir Klitschko warming up in his dressing room, and now let's take a look at Klitschko and Fury standing together, and you can see from this shot what we've been talking about. Where's the 3-inch height advantage? It does not appear from this picture, and they're standing on the same surface, that Fury is anywhere close to 3 inches taller than Wladimir.
They got the NBA guys doing the heights now. You know, Kevin Love is 6'9". No, he's not. He's 6'7". Dwight Howard 6'11". No, he's 6'9". And Tyson Fury listed at 6'9", looks like he is maybe 6'7", something like that.
The original plan was for the two fighters to leave their dressing rooms and move to the ring several minutes ago. We are waiting for the German television network, which originates this broadcast in Düsseldorf, Germany, to cue the fighters to go from their dressing rooms to the ring. And as of right now, they're waiting. And it's not clear to us what the delay might be and why they are still in the dressing rooms. But there's a look at Tyson Fury with his uncle, who is his trainer. Previously, he was trained some of the time by his father. His father wound up in prison after an assault rap, and he moved to his uncle 7 fights ago and has been with him ever since, and what he says is the best stretch of his career. This is a look at the arena in Düsseldorf, where a crowd of up to 45,000 people were expected to be there for the fight. Obviously, enormous security, as all public events in Germany and elsewhere in Western Europe have been secured to the max for the last couple of weeks. Many were canceled or postponed. At least one soccer match was played in Belgium with a crowd of 0 in a huge stadium so that they could be certain of having secured the event. And you can be sure that every effort has been made tonight to make sure that they are secure in the belief that this event can come off without any unwanted event. So as we wait, let's take a look at highlights of Wladimir Klitschko against the last 3 opponents. Starting October 2 years ago against Alexander Povetkin, and Povetkin, who was, like Klitschko, a super heavyweight Olympic gold medalist, had waited a long time for the opportunity, but went down pretty early on a Klitschko left hook. This was a technically dominant performance for Wladimir, Max.
It was, if a bit ugly, but that was really on Povetkin. Klitschko has a way of neutralizing what the other guy wants to do. The other guy, Povetkin in this case, was supposed to get inside, but you pay a heavy price for coming inside, and fighters just aren't running headlong into that offense.
Klitschko was heavily criticized for holding against Povetkin, so in his next fight against Pulev here, Roy Jones, he came out more aggressive, went for the knockout from the beginning, and pleased the fans a great deal more.
Yeah, he feinted that jab to make Pulev reach for it, and as Pulev reached for the jab, he caught with a beautiful left hook, set him down twice, and that got it started the 3rd time. That one did it. The same punch 3 times in a row.
And of course, over the years, you know, Klitschko has achieved most of his attention for the great left jab and the hard right hand. All 3 knockdowns of Pulev were with the left hook. But then here against Bryant Jennings earlier this year in Madison Square Garden, Jennings stretched Klitschko the full 12 rounds, which was regarded as something of a moral victory.
There's a sense that Klitschko is starting to show his age, because everyone always says Father Time is undefeated, although Hopkins looked like he fought him to a draw recently. Even Hopkins went down to Father Time and Kovalev. And so maybe finally age is catching up to Wladimir. That's some of the intrigue about this fight after the Jennings fight.
And now we are told that Tyson Fury is ready to exit the dressing room and come to the ring.
Klitschko, your era will end tonight.
Tyson, mach dich auf was gefasst.
If you've watched Wladimir Klitschko's fights from Germany or his brother Vitaly's fights from Germany, you have become accustomed to the elaborate entrances, the extreme theatricality that surrounds all of these events. Roy Jones, do fighters love all of this stuff, or are they distracted by it?
You have to love it. You want to have a great welcoming committee or welcoming party. You want to see it as extravagant as it can get, because in some instances, this is your last time to perform, your last show. It may be your last fight. You never know. So you want to leave people with the best memory you could possibly leave them with.
Tyson Fury descends from an unusual clan called the Irish Travelers, gypsies, literally nomadic livers, who have been in the UK for quite a long period of time. He was born and raised in Manchester, England, but his heritage is Irish.
Cousin of a good friend of mine, Bobby Gunn, who was a bare knuckles champion. These guys come to fight, they'll be there to the end, and they don't care what they have to face to try to win.
Long tradition of bare knuckles fighting in the Fury family and among the Irish Travelers. And now here he comes walking to the ring. He's a distant cousin of Andy Lee, and that's how he wound up briefly being trained by Emanuel Stewart. Andy asked, will you help out with my cousin? Stewart took a flyer on training Tyson Fury for a short period of time. It was only one fight. We asked Fury, what did Emanuel teach you that was most important? And he said, he told me all about Vladimir's insecurities. He told me about Vladimir's weak mind and how I would be able to beat him. That may or may not be true.
Well, it's Tyson Fury who has never been in this position before. And the histrionics, maybe a page out of Muhammad Ali then Cassius Clay's book, who had to feel nerves fighting Sonny Liston, right? But used that to feed his big, colorful personality and try to, instead of covering the nerves, kind of use the nerves. And that, to me, seems to be what Tyson Fury's doing here in this situation with Wladimir Klitschko, because he is entering the unknown here, uncharted territory.
You can't prepare for a moment like this without looking back at the three overwhelming upsets in heavyweight title fight history. Jim Braddock over Max Baer, Cassius Clay over Sonny Liston, and of course, James Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson. Noteworthy wins for Tyson Fury, and some polite applause from the crowd. Obviously, some British fans have made the trip across the English Channel to go to Dusseldorf and root for their man.
The IBO, the IBF, the WBO, the WBA, defending heavyweight world champion.
Heute bekommt das, was verdient. Garantiert.
Tyson, ich werde dich zum Schweigen bringen. Ich freue mich wirklich, dich zu treffen.
This music has been repeated in the past. Jonathan Banks over the right shoulder of Wladimir Klitschko there as the long reigning heavyweight champion, with his brother's wife and his own wife looking on from ringside, makes his way to the ring. Wladimir Klitschko's 28th appearance in a heavyweight title fight. That establishes a record, separating him by 1 from Joe Louis, who had 27 appearances in heavyweight title fights.
Of course, the difference is many of them for Klitschko were of a fractional title when his brother also was recognized as heavyweight champion. Joe Louis, there was 1 championship back then, and Joe Louis had it for 25 title defenses, and that included time off during the Second World War. So it's really not a common denominator in terms of the comparison. But, you know, all Klitschko fights look like this in the beginning. The crowd's there are big pyrotechnics and video presentations. But as Klitschko has said himself in recent days, hey, I'm boring. Everyone criticizes me for being boring. A lot of that's because he wins all the time. And he needs a colorful opponent to create excitement around him. And although this stuff looks like every Klitschko fight, there's a sense of more energy and excitement around this fight because of what his challenger brings.
39 is just a number, Roy Jones, for somebody who's as well-conditioned and is consistent in his habits as Wladimir Klitschko, but it's still 39. The next time he appears in the ring, he will be 40. It has to mean something.
It doesn't mean nothing, I would think. I think it means something if it means something to him mentally and he didn't take care of himself. But because of the discipline that we know Klitschko possesses, I think it has no meaning whatsoever.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain silent as we honor challenger and champion with their respective national anthems, performed by the Dark Tenor. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem for the United Kingdom. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Dark Tenor performing the national anthem for Ukraine. Meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Esprit Arena here in Düsseldorf, Germany, where tonight KMG is proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the unified heavyweight championship of the world. Sanctioned by the BDB president, Thomas Putz. Also sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization, President Francisco Paco Barcarcel. The World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza. The International Boxing Federation, President Darrell Peoples. And the International Boxing Organization, Ed Levine. At ringside, the 3 judges assigned scoring this contest. From the United States, Raul Caiz Sr. From Argentina, Ramon Cerdan. And from Puerto Rico, Cesar Ramos. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, World Championship veteran referee from the United States, Tony Weeks. And now, the officials are in their places at ringside. The fighters are in the ring and they are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, meine Damen und Herren, Dame Gospoda, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green, official weight, 112 kilos. A perfect professional record consisting of 24 fights, 24 victories, including 18 big wins by knockout. From Heysham, Lancashire, United Kingdom, the British heavyweight champion, the European heavyweight champion, the WBO International heavyweight champion, the undefeated #1 heavyweight challenger in the world, Tyson Fury. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red and officially weighing in at 111.5 kilo. He captured Olympic gold and now as a professional, 67 victories, including 54 wins by knockout, only 3 defeats. He's undefeated for 10 years. Fighting out of Kiev, Ukraine, and Hamburg, Germany, the reigning, defending, 3-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, the Weltmeister, Dr. Steel Hammer, Wladimir Klitschko.
Tyson Fury has been having an ongoing conversation with Wladimir Klitschko ever since Klitschko arrived in the ring. It's unclear to us whether Klitschko has been a part of that conversation, whether he's nodded or answered or gestured back to Tyson during the period of time that Fury has been nodding and gesturing and talking to Klitschko across the ring. You see that the referee is American referee Tony Weeks, based in Las Vegas.
There's a sense that Klitschko may be slowing down as he did against Jennings in his last fight. And the excitement here is not only the talk like David Haye and the undefeated record like Povetkin and the fact that he's a big southpaw like Thompson, but that Klitschko is slowing down. Now Tyson Fury has to put that all together and do something about it.
And by the way, Tyson Fury was born in 1988, and he says yes, his parents named him for Mike Tyson. So he believes that he can fulfill what amounts to a parental prophecy by winning the heavyweight championship here tonight. And here we go with round 1. Who can land his jab early? And can Fury switch feet against Klitschko and get away with it the way he's done with all his other opponents?
Can he take the steel hammer?
That's probably the biggest question, right?
Yes.
Fury's head movement so far preventing Klitschko from landing a jab. And preventing Fury from landing a jab, too. As they start out looking at each other and feinting and reaching with punches that don't land.
They're so tall, neither guy wants to make that big move and get caught with a counter. So Fury is doing a good job of putting his out first, not allowing Klitschko to have the opportunity to put his out yet.
Fury not fighting southpaw so far.
In the conventional stance.
Fury also doing a good job with the feints, but the problem is, Jim, is how long can he hold this pace up?
Neither man has landed a significant punch yet in the fight. We're almost a minute and a half in. Fury has touched Klitschko a couple of times with his jab, but hasn't really made any significant contact. Klitschko is still basically looking at Fury and trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do.
Their height, they're not used to fighting fighters their same size, and so their weights are both on their back foot as they lean away from each other's offense.
A cautious start in round one in Dusseldorf between Wladimir Klitschko in the red trunks and Tyson Fury in the black with gold. Fury misses over the top with the right hand and then very concertedly hits Klitschko in the back of the head. So that's one rabbit punch with which he got away.
And Klitschko countered with one right back just to let him know.
I felt your glove on the back of my head, and here's the evidence as I'm touching the back of your head.
Just to let you know.
Stop. I got you.
Klitschko's fighting like he assumes, as is his conventional wisdom, that his skills are much more refined, and eventually he can impose them. And Tyson Fury is going to have to put it all together in a way he hasn't yet in his career. He has to have some kind of talent advantage here, some kind of improvisational advantage that he seems to believe he has, but is yet to show.
So far, CompuBox finds Klitschko landing 4 jabs and Fury 3. They find Fury landing 1 power punch, but even that was just a light tap. This has been the ultimate cautious, feel him out, read the opposition, and we'll think about what to do as we go forward. Round one.
Yes, it's a good round. But all I need right now is for you to play with this jab. Play with it a little bit more. Just feint to the body, go up with it, go up and down with it. That's what you need to do. All you're looking for is one punch. He's really fighting timid. He's gonna slow down, but you got to keep putting pressure on him and don't foul him.
So listen, watch for that. Fake double jab. When you get a chance as well, yeah, in this round, try what I told you. Come out, zigzag, do the switch up. Yeah? Remember what I told you? Right? Try that with him. Just come off it. It'll put him into his shell a bit, yeah? Listen, got to graft this job. You understand? Yeah? Fake everything, keeping him at bay.
I tell you what, he's weak as well.
Yeah, but watch for the shots.
Look for the right hand.
That's because he's get to already.
Right hand he's looking for.
Looking for that right. Keep twisting him. Messing him around. Nice and loose.
In round one, CompuBox counted Wladimir Klitschko landing 4 of 14 jabs and not throwing a single power punch. Fury, 2 of 10 on power punches, 4 of 19 on jabs as he out-threw Wladimir in round number 1.
Nothing happened in that first round. You know, there was nothing really to choose from. I can understand with nothing to choose from, maybe you give it to the champion, maybe he's a little more aggressive. But in a sense, that's a win for Fury, because he essentially has fought Wladimir to a draw in the first round, and he's supposed to be losing these rounds.
Now Wladimir Klitschko lands a jab. Fury backs away from it. And Klitschko jabs to the body.
The big problem Fury has is, I don't think Fury is known as a big one-punch fighter.
He isn't.
And those are the kind of fighters that really cause Wladimir a problem, not the guys who hit you with an accumulation of punches and cause damage. So with that being said, if Klitschko decides to go in and gamble, unless Fury can hurt him, it's going to be pretty dangerous for Fury.
My assumption is just always a 245-pound guy can hurt you.
Especially in a set of 10-ounce or 12-ounce gloves.
Klitschko a little bit more aggressive in this round as he steps closer to try to land his jab against Tyson Fury.
Yet Fury is the guy who seems to have landed a couple of shots in this round.
The only other problem is Klitschko seems to be coming forward. Fury's backing up. So if Fury lands a punch, it probably won't be as meaningful as it will if Klitschko lands one.
Now there, Fury steps forward and lands a left hand.
You always have to ask yourself, if the round ends at this moment, who's won? At this moment, I'd give this round to Fury.
I do too.
Still a minute and 15 to go in the round.
First round could have gone either way. And after, if this continues for a couple more rounds, Klitschko is going to have to do something to start asserting himself.
Yes, because Fury is definitely doing things to make him think. He's feigning, which we never seen many guys do to him. He's just as tall as he is, so he's not walking in to the right hand or making himself a target for an easy right hand. And Klitschko hasn't seen this in a little while.
We're 5 minutes into the fight, and CompuBox has not counted a single landed power shot for the heavyweight champion Wladimir Klitschko so far, landing only jabs. He really hasn't risked a right hand yet against Tyson Fury. So the only fighter who's landed something that CompuBox calls a power punch in the fight is Tyson Fury, and he's landed 4 of them.
And he's doing a great job with his feints, Jim.
There's something, if that's not a power punch, it's a short punch.
It's a powerful
Klitschko.
And now Klitschko has landed a power punch by CompuBox count. Remember, by CompuBox standards, anything that's not a jab, an uppercut, a body shot, a hooking punch, a straight right hand, all of those are power punches. Later tonight, we'll have a replay of this fight, followed by a replay of last week's showdown between Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. 10:15 Eastern and Pacific tonight.
To the right. And keep the angles that you have. There's nothing wrong with the angle you have. Just keep cutting them off. Keep being patient. But be loose, a little more looser with the jab. And keep the right hand in position. All he's trying to do is catch you with one punch at a time. You know he's not about to catch you with a barrage of punches. And when he get close to you, you put that leg right
step in behind it with a straight left. You listening? Yeah. Take my instructions to the letter. Yeah? Come out. Feint. Double jab. Switch it up. Yeah? On the outside of his foot. With the south forward.
Seconds out,
yeah, mix it up.
please.
That's right. Any head movement. Yeah.
Round 3, scheduled 12 in Dusseldorf for the heavyweight championship of the world. Harold Wladimir gives the second round to Fury. Klitschko still somewhat inactive in the fight, hasn't really unleashed power punches. The right hand, the left hook, both tremendously effective for him traditionally. Here he's waiting to throw them.
So far, Tyson Fury's self-belief and kind of big personality and imagination have done him well in this fight. And now Klitschko has to counter that with his superior craft, Jim. He has to just impose the reality of the fight on Tyson Fury and not let Tyson Fury start imagining and imposing his imagination on Klitschko.
Klitschko is by nature cautious. Roy, he seems even more cautious today.
Yeah, he is, because he's fighting a big man, Jim. He doesn't want to make a mistake and give this big guy any more confidence than he already seems to have. That's one of the outcomes of Fury using those tactics to get under Klitschko's skin.
But by choosing to fight this way, isn't he giving Fury confidence anyway?
He is, but he's hoping that Fury will wear down, slow down a little bit, or make a mistake like that, and he can counter from it. He just hasn't been able to do that yet.
Fury has his hands below his waist much of the time. Why isn't Wladimir Klitschko launching a right hand?
Because he doesn't know where Fury's punches are going to come from. He don't know if Fury's going to take a step back and throw a wild looping left, or he's going to step back and counter with the right hook. He's not sure, because when a man's hands is at his waist like that, it's not easy to predict what he's going to do.
Yeah, now Fury's in the southpaw stance, and this is something we expected to see.
And that has to do with him carrying his hands especially low this round. He wants to keep giving Wladimir different looks, not let that Wladimir get set, unsettle him. And so here we see in the third round, finally, Fury comes out as a southpaw, hands low. It's dangerous, but it is kind of causing Klitschko to think before he punches.
Southpaw stance, hands below the waist, open invitation for Wladimir Klitschko to throw his right hand, and he isn't shooting it yet.
Yep, and that's kind of strange, but like I said, I think he's afraid to run into a big shot, and he doesn't want to take a crazy risk.
Now Tyson Fury goes back to the conventional stance.
Stop. Hey, don't do that.
And Tony Weeks warns Tyson Fury not to rabbit punch Klitschko after he landed a second shot to the back of Klitschko's head. There was one in the first round as well.
Usually a low punch output from Klitschko is okay in terms of his winning the fight, because when he does punch, he's doing damage. He's accurate and he's punching hard. He hasn't done any damage to Fury so far through 3 rounds.
I think he's not afraid or not worried that he can't do damage to Fury. I think he feels as though when he opens up, Fury won't be able to take his assault.
Might want to start assaulting him at some point soon.
Very soon.
Right. Don't lose no concentration with this fella, yeah? Because he's looking and he's trying to wait to launch attacks, and he's going to try it. So we want you to do...
Looking at the numbers coming in, Tyson Fury has similar numbers to Wladimir Klitschko, but he's somewhat more active. Those 60 punches around to about 45 for Klitschko. And showing up already early here as Fury has thrown and landed more punches in the first 3 rounds of the fight.
So everything he do is go come down here.
You're not going to hit this fella with a jab. I told you that. Yeah? Fake double jab, do that, switch up. Yeah? That's some nice skills. Dancing there. Take this fella to school. Yeah? You've done 3 rounds now, you know what it's about. Now enjoy it, show the shoulder. That's some nice classy boxing. We've got to lift this belt. Watch for it. Let's go.
Round 4 begins. And we turn to our unofficial scorer, Harold Lederman. And Harold, after the first 3 rounds, personally, I think it's conceivable that there are official scorecards there which have Tyson Fury winning all 3 rounds. What do you have?
Okay, Jim, there's no question you could give him all 3 rounds. I got a 2-1, 29-28 Tyson Fury. You know, Jim, in the first round, I thought that Klitschko was walking him down, and if they landed an equal amount of the punches, I gave it to Wladimir on effective aggressiveness. But rounds 2 and 3, Wladimir did very little. Tyson Fury's doing something, though, that I don't particularly like. He's leaping in, you know? When you lean in like that, you leave yourself open to Vladimir's big right hand. If Wladimir could bring that right hand over the top, he could knock him out, because there's no question that Tyson's landing his shots. You see, by leaning in, he's stretching in, he's leaning in, and leaving himself open for a big shot. 2-1, Fury.
This is the kind of fight that the late, great Emanuel Stewart used to lament, where at the end of the round, one guy lands 2 punches, the other lands 1, and so you give it to the guy who lands 2 punches. Dreadful offensive output from both guys so far.
And particularly dreadful from Wladimir Klitschko, who is expected to be better than this.
Those feints are holding him, Jim. The feints that Fury are doing to him are making him hold up and not allowing him to throw big punches right away, because he's not sure what Fury's going to do. And he doesn't want to make a mistake and run into nothing big, because Fury is a tall, heavy guy.
Yeah, usually the onus is on the challenger to try to take the championship from the champion. In this case, however, the standards are much lower for Tyson Fury. If he wins a boring fight, very close rounds, he's done an amazing thing. If Klitschko wins boring, even if he wins, hey, what'd you do? It wasn't an exciting fight, and you didn't really dominate.
Well, so far, if you were looking to see which of the 2 fighters is trying to win the fight, you would have to say at this moment it's Fury. Although there, Klitschko finally threw his hard right hand across the top. Throws it again and misses. But Klitschko's starting to unveil the right hand, and that may inhibit Fury from turning to that southpaw. No, there goes Fury into the southpaw stance. Let's see if Wladimir throws a right hand against that, and Fury turns back away.
I mean, we know that Klitschko's a big puncher, but he has offered no evidence of that through almost 4 rounds in this fight.
Fury throwing more jabs than Klitschko and landing more jabs than Klitschko to this point in the fight.
Let him go.
Well, we knew that Fury would be the busier puncher, and we know that the business is probably his best chance to win the fight. Late round knockout may seem prominent for him.
Hard right hand
early.
for Klitschko lands on Fury's face.
That's the first right-handed power shot I can remember him throwing and landing in this fight.
And Klitschko lands a little left at the end of round number 4. So Wladimir began to get his offense going in the 4th round, but still hasn't been nearly as aggressive as he'll need to be, it appears, against Tyson Fury.
Yeah, you got to go take it now. Your hands in right position. You have to believe when your hands is here, they're in the right position. That's why you got to start stepping forward on this dude, because he's trying to steal around. He's trying to dance no matter what he says. He's trying to dance to a decision. That's what he's trying to do. But we're not going to let him. That's why you gotta start letting these power shots. Start taking this right hand. Start pressing forward with it. He's not coming around. He's coming straight down the middle. That's why this is here. Start pick and return right away. There's no time to take breaks. Then start taking breaks. You got no time for it right now because you're playing from behind now. You have to stay on them, just like this. Right hands in front, pick and return, 1-2 right behind. Double jab.
All right, yeah.
Seconds out, please.
All right. Listen into it. It's for a world title. Come on. Keep fresh.
You heard Jonathan Banks telling Wladimir Klitschko, you are playing from behind now.
He wants him to pick and return out of the Kronk gym. Catch and counter means you simultaneously catch the offense from your opponent in your glove while you're countering, even with your jab. And he wants that because he wants Klitschko to step up the offense, not try to evade the offense, but just catch it and counter with his own as he's coming in.
In case you've just joined us, you saw Harold Lederman's unofficial scorecard on which he has given 3 of the first 4 rounds to Tyson Fury. I'll make the point once again, it's not out of the question as we watch it, that any of those official judges might conceivably have Fury winning all 4 rounds because Wladimir has simply been too cautious, too self-protective, and too unwilling to throw power shots to be in a commanding position so far.
Although when rounds are won by a punch or 2, it's also conceivable that those very close rounds could go the other way.
Well, a lot of times over in Germany, everything is kind of difficult, so you never can really tell what the judges want to give or who they want to give it to. However, at this point, I think Wladimir Klitschko should be doing some body work. He has a cut opened up already.
Under the left eye.
Yeah, I think he should be doing some body work because body work would allow him to throw his hands more. Right now, just looking for headshots with a taller guy, he's not getting that opportunity.
In the win over Povetkin, he did not throw a single landed body punch. He is not by nature a body puncher, partially because he's so effective upstairs, partially because he doesn't want to get countered by somebody with a better angle when he throws to the body.
And a big 250 almost pound guy who's now open to cut under his left eye and who, as Jonathan Banks told Wladimir Klitschko, is trying and maybe successfully stealing rounds. Meaning not doing much, just doing just enough to neutralize you and just enough offense to maybe win a round on the cards.
So there's a drama brewing in Dusseldorf, Germany, where Tyson Fury may conceivably be building a scorecard advantage over Wladimir Klitschko as Klitschko goes for his 19th consecutive successful title defense.
And right there, you even see Tyson Fury going to the body. With that being done, it keeps his hands a little more busier. Klitschko has to get busier. Going to the head on a guy who's taller than you is very difficult. You don't see opportunity to throw head shots. So you have to throw body shots to create opportunities to throw head shots.
If Tyson Fury's trying to land to Wladimir Klitschko's body, Klitschko should be countering him upstairs.
Of course, like that.
You see the blood under the left eye of Wladimir Klitschko, a cut on the cheek. Not dissimilar, by the way, to the cut that Cassius Clay opened on Sonny Liston's cheek in the 3rd round, February 25, 1964, in Miami Beach.
And what you got to admire about Tyson Fury is he does have the best jab in this fight. He's using a very good, long, flicking jab that's causing Wladimir a lot of problems, and the feint before he throws it is causing just as much problem.
Klitschko just missing with a right hand over the top as that round comes to a close. Boxing After Dark returns on December 19. American heavyweight Brian Jennings faces dangerous Cuban Luis Ortiz. Also that night, the Axeman Nicholas Walters takes on New Jersey's Jason Sosa.
Feinting, messing with him. But look, I'm still not seeing any nice switch-ups with you. Yeah? Go to double jab, play with him, switch up.
Here we see the two come together, and the cut is actually caused from that headbutt right there, not from a punch.
Well, that's different from Clay Liston.
Yes, and there were 2 rabbit punches behind the head by both fighters. One got the warning, but it's because he did it first. And you see Klitschko wiping the eye right there to show us that that's what caused the butt.
Start double jabbing, shoot that right hand to the body. That's what's wide open, that right hand to the body. Then go back to it.
Jonathan Banks trying to get Wladimir Klitschko to shoot a right hand to the body, something he's reluctant to do.
Well, we also saw there Tyson Fury's success evading Klitschko's jab. He's moving his head, and he's taking Klitschko's jab, his best punch, away from him. So you got to go to something else, and Jonathan Banks wants to see him shoot the right hand to the body. He believes it's open.
Harold Lederman gives a 4th consecutive round on the scorecards to Tyson Fury. So Fury is building what might become, on Letterman's scorecard, an insurmountable lead. And remember, Harold is unofficial. He's not one of the scoring judges for the fight.
With Klitschko's power, you would think that anything is surmountable on the cards. But conventional wisdom was Klitschko's better. He should win as always. But one of these days he's going to get old. And maybe Fury's big talk is part of a kind of extra component to his game that can rise to the occasion. So far, that's been the case.
I don't think this has anything to do with him getting old. He's not throwing punches at all, which we know he can do. His movement, his legs look really good when he's moving. I don't think none of that has nothing to do with it. I think Tyson's feinting and that long jab right there is causing him enough problems that he's not throwing punches to the head because he's used to fighting guys who are either his height or a little smaller. You can see opportunity more with guys that are your height or guys that are smaller. With a taller guy, it's harder to see opportunity.
Vladimir Klitschko, 39 years old, had a somewhat disappointing outing earlier this year against Bryant Jennings, wasn't able to knock Jennings out. A lot of people thought, oh, that's because Jennings fought to survive. Could it have been that Klitschko is in fact slowing down? Trouble in the early going against Tyson Fury for longtime heavyweight ruler Wladimir Klitschko.
Jonathan Banks wants to see that Kronk catch and counter style from Klitschko, and I think that would take away, if he planned to do that, some of the tentative kind of nature of the way he has his weight on his back foot. He's hesitant to come in and put pressure on Fury because he's trying to completely avoid punches instead of catching them with his glove and countering simultaneously.
Leon Spinks surprised Muhammad Ali with his frenetic style and movement. Ali was never able really to get going in the fight. Spinks wound up with a decision win. That's not terribly dissimilar to what's happened in the first 6 rounds here tonight.
Klitschko almost basically too cautious.
He's also used to things going his way, even when he fights on the back foot, even when he fights too cautiously.
Stop.
When he does land the leather, it has a big effect, and so far tonight has had no effect.
So we've heard trainer Jonathan Banks trying to step up the urgency between rounds. We've heard Banks telling Wladimir, you are now fighting from behind. So far, he's gotten Wladimir to open up and be a little bit more aggressive, but nothing big has landed as we close in on the midway point in the fight.
Stop.
Jacob Stitch Duran is the cut man working there on the opened skin under the left eye, Wladimir Klitschko.
Поджимаешь его сам. Бьешь левая. Потом that jab must be double. It must be double. Coming to the body.
Just do it and watch what he does. Do you see?
I'm just worried that left upper when I do it.
Yeah.
Hold your hand up.
Right, I'll try it now.
Don't try it unless you're confident with it. Yeah?
I'm giving my boxing lesson, it's good.
Yeah, just boxing, just like you're doing. Don't let him set, because he's waiting, and in a minute he will start chancing it. Yeah? So you got to watch for that. He'll start taking a chance because he's coming unstuck. Keep moving him, yeah?
Left up, right.
Dreadful numbers as we reach the halfway point of the fight for Wladimir Klitschko. CompuBox finds him throwing a total of 16 punches per round and landing fewer than 4 of them. Finds Fury landing 31 punches so far in the fight. That's a very small number, but it's 8 more than Wladimir Klitschko. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
I tell you, Jim, this is unbelievable. Wladimir is so inactive. It's like he's giving away the heavyweight championship of the world. I got it 5 rounds to 1, 59-55, Tyson Fury. Mainly because Wladimir is not punching. I mean, look at that. Fury touches him, Wladimir don't hit him back. And this is the story of the fight. Fury doing all the punching, Wladimir doing next to nothing. It's like he's handing the fight away by not throwing punches. He's got to come out and throw some punches, and that's all there is to it. Wladimir certainly can hit harder. You know, he can knock out with either hand, and he's not doing it. He's just grabbing Fury. It's a darn shame, but that's the story of the fight. It's all Tyson Fury, Jim.
We mentioned the disappointing outing for Klitschko against Bryant Jennings in Madison Square Garden earlier this year. He also had the distraction of the torn calf muscle, which led to a postponement of this fight from October 24 to November 28. Also, the birth of his first child, daughter Kaya, to Hayden Panettiere within the past year, and his Hayden herself announced recently that she was going to a rehabilitation treatment for postpartum depression. So Wladimir has had many distractions coming into the fight this time around.
Although so far, we got to give Tyson Fury credit for keeping him off balance, keeping him reluctant to throw punches, avoiding Klitschko's jab, doing just enough to win rounds. A reminder, by the way, several long reigning heavyweight champions towards the end of their reign. Joe Louis obviously lost a fight to Joe Walcott. They gave it to Joe Louis on the cards. Larry Holmes, many people felt, lost fights to Tim Witherspoon and Carl Williams. They gave both fights to Larry Holmes on the cards. And some of these rounds, as little as Klitschko is doing, if there's very little to choose from, they may be going to Klitschko.
I don't know about all that, but right now the biggest distraction that he has is that guy named Tyson Fury right there in front of him. Tyson Fury is getting more confident as the time goes by. Now he has to be careful not to become too overconfident that he runs into a big shot from Klitschko, but Klitschko usually starts to go down from here. His breathing is not really good from this point in a fight, and he doesn't really look good beyond this point in the fight, so he needs to tighten up some.
And the optics are no good for Klitschko with the blood flowing under his eye.
And he can't pull the trigger on the right hand. If you remember Larry Holmes losing twice to Michael Spinks after his 48 consecutive wins in the heavyweight division, in those two fights, Holmes couldn't pull the trigger on the right hand. Wladimir Klitschko at this moment does not appear able to pull the trigger on the right hand.
Well, that second fight with Spinks, we still suspect about that, so we won't call that one.
He just pulled the Roy Jones. You see that?
Yeah, he's been doing it all night long.
He put both hands behind his back, Tyson Fury.
He's been doing it all night long to affect Klitschko's confidence.
7 rounds in the books. Wladimir Klitschko doing way less than what would appear to be necessary to hold on to his heavyweight crown.
Если ты не будешь просто ходишь за ним.
He said Fury beat him to the punch with the left jab. They both threw hook, but Fury beat him to the punch. Then Fury lands a weak left, a weak right, and another left. There's not big punches, Jim, but they are landing on Klitschko's face. And Klitschko's not returning.
You have no choice. Keep your hands in position.
And there's the look in the corner as Vitaly Klitschko and Jonathan Banks confer with each other.
Get high up, stay low.
And the looks on their faces demonstrate they're not thrilled with what Wladimir is pulling off in there.
No matter what he says. You're trying to dance.
5 rounds to go in Dusseldorf. Wladimir Klitschko's lengthy reign atop the heavyweight division apparently in jeopardy.
Let's go. Let's go.
Fury becoming more confident about the second.
When you look at that scorecard, the unofficial scorecard for Harold Lederman, if you just joined us, you may be thinking, oh, what a great performance for Fury. No, it's a dreadful performance for Wladimir Klitschko.
Here we go. Time in, let's go.
But Fury has the right plan and the right idea, and his movement and energy are enough to bother Klitschko and keep him from pulling the trigger on big punches.
And if you watch right there, you see like he stole that right body shot. The referee doesn't see that, but right as Klitschko relaxes and gets ready to break, Fury steals body shots, which are great shots to steal. Good jab by Fury.
Yeah, that's the first good jab Klitschko's landed. And give Fury credit. It's not so easy to run in on a 6'7", let's say, nearly 250-pound guy who's taking your jab away with head movement.
There's another good jab for Klitschko.
That's the second one. Maybe he's getting it out on track. He needs it.
He needs it badly.
Taking and disrupting your rhythm with little short shots on the inside. Meantime, you have to respect his power just because of his size.
Rhythm is a key word that's been missing from this commentary so far. Klitschko needs rhythm. He hasn't had it in the fight so far. As Max Kellerman pointed out, the 2 landed jabs could mean that he's starting to get a feel for it.
No, stop. Turn around.
Tony Weeks did a great job last Saturday night in Las Vegas in a tremendous 130-pound fight between Takashi Miura and Francisco Vargas. Here's an entirely different kind of fight. And Tony once again doing his normal high-quality job.
And Jim, the bad thing about this is Klitschko has such a habit of holding when he gets inside that right now he shouldn't hold inside. He's the smaller guy. He should be punching inside. He's the most powerful guy.
Boy, that's a great point.
But he's so used to holding, he's not punching when he's inside.
Very difficult to erase all that muscle memory from what you've been doing in all those fights.
Exactly. He's been holding all these guys so long, now he won't punch inside when he needs to. Like right here, he should be working. Not Fury, he's the shorter guy.
And the more precise puncher normally.
Definitely the stronger puncher.
Meantime, whatever commentary we've made about how Klitschko doesn't look good, Fury has never looked on this level in his career so far. And sometimes a challenger with a lot of self-confidence can put it all together and on one night reach his prime when the opportunity is there, and it seems as though that's what Fury has done so far.
Stop, stop. See those little punches he's landing right there, Max? People don't give credit for those, but those are good little punches. Those will wear a big man down.
Stop, stop. Let him go. Let him go.
8 rounds complete. In December, we'll have bi-weekly episodes of The Fight Game. Join me along with Max Kellerman, Michelle Beadle, and Bernard Hopkins as we address the biggest issues and events in boxing December 9 and December 23.
You got to be more aggressive now.
Yeah, you get a little bit static. Quick with the shots. Let's have some nice moves. You're trying to load up and knock him out. Yeah? Box. Yeah? And you're catching him. Look, he's getting very limp in there. Yeah? He's tired. Age is creeping up. Get a little bit more busy. Pop, pop, pop. Let's have a little bit of movement. Just with the hands, feint. Throw your double jabs, yeah? Yeah?
Cool. Time out. To the right with your right foot, cut him off and go right away with a double jab. And you go back into the ropes. You can have your shots right there. But you have to stay on this guy.
Подходишь без удара. С ударами подходишь. И левой, левой, больше левой.
We're 2/3 of the way through this heavyweight championship fight from Dusseldorf, Germany. Wladimir Klitschko looking for a 19th consecutive successful title defense in the heavyweight division, has finally won another round on Harold Lederman's scorecard, but you see the numbers right there as Harold has Tyson Fury 4 points ahead of Wladimir Klitschko to this point in the fight.
I got you. All right, stop. Listen to me.
Meaning if Harold Lederman's scorecard is correct and we're going to go the distance, Klitschko would have to win these last 4 rounds to claim a draw and hold on to his title.
Right from the first round of last week's Canelo-Cotto fight, Roy, you talked about Cotto didn't look sharp. He wasn't throwing those normal sharp punches. And I think the same can be said so far about Klitschko. I don't see the sharp punching Klitschko so far.
No, he hasn't been a sharp puncher, but he hasn't been punching at all, really. So 16 punches around, we can't tell if they're sharp or not. He's not throwing much.
If it seems like credit's being taken away from Tyson Fury, harping on how old Klitschko looks, Tyson Fury made a point of that before the fight in the build-up, saying he's an old champion and this is what happens. The young guy comes to replace him. Really good right hand by Klitschko.
That was his best right hand of the fight. And now Fury mugs as if to say, oh, you didn't hurt me, and that suggests that maybe Wladimir did make significant contact.
Well, that was the best one that he's landed all night.
Do that again. Don't do that again. That's the last time. Last time.
And that's the last warning to Fury about rabbit punching. Meaning if he lands one to the back of Vladimir's head again, then in theory, Tony Weeks will deduct a point. And a point deduction in this fight could be very significant.
In the meantime, Fury's bluff worked on Klitschko because what happened? Klitschko went inside and held again.
And Fury gets in a little left hook. Klitschko was standing there in open space. The 2 little body punches by Fury as he continues to build up a margin over Klitschko in landed punches counted by Copy.
Oh, good shot.
Big left hook by Fury as Wladimir momentarily lost himself in the ring and got hit with a clean shot.
Wladimir was expecting a kind of cooperation from Tyson Fury, like, okay, I'm a little off balance, just hang in a second, and Fury was not having it.
That was a tremendous opportunity for Fury, and he took advantage.
Turn around.
Now he's checking to see if he's bleeding. We see blood trickling from the top of the head. From Klitschko, maybe another head, but right there. That's what I don't like, Jim. You say he just goes in and grabs. Klitschko doesn't have to do that. He should go to the body right there.
But increasingly, as his career goes on, he doesn't throw body punches. And that's a significant missing element. for a guy who is the heavyweight champion.
We're just seeing more fire, not this is a scintillating fight, but more fire and desire from the challenger here. There's more pep in his step. There seems to be a little more willingness to do what he has to do to win this fight.
Wladimir got in a little right hand over the top. No big impact. We're 3/4 of the way through the fight. There's the look on the face of Hayden Panettiere, which is something other than the profound confidence you would normally expect to see.
Here you see Klitschko come in with the 1-2, the best right hand, right on the chin. That was a good shot. Fury shook his head and said, come on, bring it. I can take whatever you got. Then Fury hits with a good left hook right on the chin, and that was his best punch of the fight so far. And drops his hands right after because he knows Klitschko not going to do nothing. Then he hit him with a left uppercut.
Double jab right hand, right back with a jab. Double jab, double jab.
A mark outside Klitschko's right eye.
From that left hook.
Он устал, лево выкидываешь, и идет на тебя, шаг назад сделай.
This is your fight. If you want it, you gotta go take it. These are your time. You gotta go take it.
And now we've reached the point where Jacob Stitch Duran goes into the ring and stands in front of Klitschko so that trainer Jonathan Banks and brother Vitaly Klitschko speak to him from outside the ropes. A small change, but perhaps significant in terms of body language. Harold, we've come to the 10th. How do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, I got it 7 rounds to 2, 88-83, Tyson Fury. You know, Jim, Wladimir Klitschko will land one good shot in the round and do nothing else. I mean, he gives the round away. Like, for example, in that 9th round, he landed a nice right hand. He could have just stepped on it, you know, jumped all over Fury, and he let Fury take the round away from him. Fury keeps touching him, piling up points with that left jab, that wild right hand, and Wladimir keeps doing nothing. You can't take it away from Tyson. He just keeps touching him to pile up points. 7 rounds to 2. Tyson Fury.
Wladimir actually threw a jab to the body a moment ago. Perhaps a suggestion that he's going to vary his punch output a little bit now in the closing rounds of a fight that he may well be losing.
Win, lose, or draw, this is a rematch fight, not because of the action it's produced so far, but because of the result, it seems, round after round of Fury seeming to carry these rounds. But it's his fight to lose, it seems to me, at this moment, meaning even though Wladimir is the champion and you think, well, the challenger has to take the crown for the champion, if Wladimir wants to stay champion, he's got to fight like the crown is not on his head right now.
He either has to knock Tyson Fury down or out, or he has to get a point deduction for those rabbit punches. Right now, I think the only way he can win the fight or lose the fight is by knockout. I think he's so far ahead that these next 2 rounds, if he survives, he's won the fight already.
One of the most frequent laments of disappointed opponents in boxing in the last 10 or 12 years has been, I was robbed of a decision in Germany. It has happened to quite a number of challengers who have come into Germany against German opponents. Klitschko is not German. He is Ukrainian. However, he has fought the overwhelming bulk of his career based in Germany. He is very familiar to German officials and judges. He is a tremendous fan favorite in this country, where commonly more than half of televisions in the country are tuned in when he or his brother Vitaly appear on German television and fight. But tonight may be a turning point. Fury switching from side to side, clipping Klitschko with a little body shot there as Wladimir turned all the way around.
And then grab him over the top of the head. Why are you grabbing a 6'7" guy over the top of the head who's supposed to be 6'9"?
Well,
why?
That time Wladimir turned around quickly because he knew that Fury's not going to be a gentleman and wait for him. He's going to hit him.
Yeah, but why are you holding him? Why didn't you hit him first? You right there. You had the opportunity to punch. Why didn't you punch? Like right there. Why you let that right hand go and follow it with a left hook?
Doesn't seem to be able to pull the trigger on the right hand.
How much of aging is just not wanting it like you used to?
Come on. Very simple. You need a knockout, brother. Let him dance away to a decision. You gonna give it to us? Go out there and knock his ass out, man. You gotta dig down and take whatever you got. You gotta dig down. You gotta go get this motherfucker, man. You gotta turn this boxing match, supposed boxing match, into a fight. You have to go get him. You're better than him. Stay low and fight this motherfucker. Stay low and throw these punches. Just stay low. Don't every time you rise up, that's when the clinch happens. He can lay on top of you, push him back off, and step right to him. You got to start double jabbing, staying low, throwing them right hands. Throw it to the body, throw it to the head. Show it to the body, throw it to the head. You have to do this.
Смотрите правой. Вот. Левой, когда поджимаешь, работаешь, хорошо.
High drum in Germany. As Jonathan Banks tells his fighter, Wladimir Klitschko, you need a knockout. You must go in and knock this man out.
He said you got to go by the head. If you don't go by the head, you're dead, you're done. So you got to go to the body, to the head. You got to let your hands go. Forget all the discipline. Forget all the holding up. If you want to win the fight, go out and fight.
One thing we haven't seen from Wladimir Klitschko in his long and illustrious career is that kind of comeback in a fight, partly because he's always up in his fights, partly because when he's lost, it was by knockout in the middle rounds to a fighter who was really bringing it to him. We haven't seen him down on the cards, desperate to score a knockout and do something dramatic to pull out a fight. Here's the opportunity.
And given the expression on his face when he was listening to Banks between rounds, I don't know that it was entirely clear that Klitschko understands or accepts the urgency of the situation as it's being communicated to him.
He understands because he just threw a hook a little while ago that would have ended matters if it would have landed. So he does understand. So he's trying to set that same hook up again, he's just not throwing it. And right now, if Fury is not careful and gets caught with this hook, he will go down.
5 minutes to go in the fight, and quite possibly 5 minutes to go in the lengthy reign of Wladimir Klitschko as the recognized heavyweight champion of the world.
Stop.
See right there, Jim? Klitschko should be punching right there. He's a shorter guy. Why is he punching on the inside? And this is an example of the better fighter not having the better fight plan, because Tyson Fury definitely has the better fight plan.
Good little shots on the inside from Tyson Fury as Klitschko is coming in.
Quick little right hand. Klitschko not getting much done in this round despite the tremendous urgency that was communicated to him by Jonathan Banks.
And there was another good body shot by Fury, and Fury's landing some good halfway head shots because they're not landing clean, but they are touching the head.
It's still Fury who's letting his hands go, and Wladimir who's waiting and looking.
What does it say? Is it just muscle memory, Roy, that a guy who's been told by his corner you need a knockout to keep your title is the one who's holding on the inside every time?
And nice cut again from another head, but more likely on the right
coming
side.
down Wladimir Klitschko's left cheek as the result of a new cut outside of his left eye.
What that is, Max, that is the repetition of fighting all these shorter guys, the guys his height that he could hold and win with. Because he held him, he didn't get used to fighting on the inside.
He can't change his stripes all of a sudden.
Now when he needs it, he can't do it because he hasn't been practicing doing it.
Oh, left hook for Fury.
Klitschko went for a home run left hook and got caught with
and
it.
That hurt him. He got caught with
left hook
another
for Fury.
And like you say, just being 6'9" or 6'8", and 250 pounds, those big shots hurt. Oh, he's taking a point.
Tony Weeks is going to take a point from Fury for rabbit punching. That point may or may not mean anything at this stage of the bout.
I don't think it means anything because to me that's an even round now.
3 minutes to go.
Klitschko jumped in with his head earlier in the round and Tyson Fury complained.
There are British fans in the arena who will be going absolutely berserk after this is over with, if in fact Fury is declared the winner.
Make it convincing this round. We've got to get this round back.
Yeah?
Yeah?
That's the only way you go beat him if you knock him out. You fight better than him. He don't fight. He trying to dance around. You stick to it, put your hands like this and step to this motherfucker with a jab. Hit.
He's stepping into me.
Yes, by the head.
Не заряжайся.
You don't have, when you get close, you start throwing your short punches. And then when he back up, step right back to him.
Не заряжайся. Скачком попробуй. Правую не держи. Держишь правую. Выстреливай ее с ней. Ты все видишь.
If he fight, find a way to win. Find your championship. Go get your championship.
Well, despite the point deduction in the 11th round, Harold Lederman saw the round for Fury, so it was 9-9 on Harold's unofficial card, not 10-8. In fact, on Harold's unofficial card, Fury has won the fight if he stands up. He could get knocked down 3 times and still be the winner on Harold's unofficial card.
Or he could knock Klitschko out, because in Klitschko going for the knockout, he's going to leave himself more vulnerable.
Come on, keep it. Come here.
There's a DQ possibility, too, we have to keep in mind.
Yes, sir. He was trying to keep it clean, but Klitschko's head is down there, so he has no other choice.
The DQ would be if Fury is caught with another rapid punch. Two big left hooks by Fury, landing on Klitschko's chin. And Wladimir, well down in the fight, is holding on rather than throwing back.
And he's not used to getting hit upside the head this much, Jim. He's usually the one doing the hitting, not being hit. It's like they say, it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun on you. Tonight, he's the shorter guy. He's not the taller guy looking down on the smaller opponents.
He's got no zip on those punches, Klitschko, anyway, even when they do land.
2 minutes to go in a truly dreadful performance. Wladimir Klitschko has been out-hustled all the way by Tyson Fury, who hasn't landed a lot of highly consequential punches, but simply has had more energy than Wladimir all the way and has commanded the fight with his movement and more punches. And there's a tremendous right-hand shot by Klitschko, which held Fury, or hurt Fury enough that he was holding on.
But see, Jim, the difference is...
And there's a left hook for Klitschko. A minute 40 to go. He's starting to build a little fire here.
But Fury can take it because he sees it coming.
And every time those clinches occur, that's 10 seconds off the clock. That's bad clock management by Wladimir Klitschko, who needs to march down the field and score a touchdown right now.
80 seconds to go. Left hook by Klitschko is a good one.
But Fury fighting back. Fury's not going to let this go easy. You can believe that.
Now, where was all this aggression from Klitschko earlier in the fight when it might have made a bigger difference?
Still might make a difference now. He got a minute left. He better come on with it if he's coming.
Every time he holds Fury.
Less than a minute to go.
That's opportunity wasted for Klitschko, who landed some big punches in this round.
Fury fight like he's the guy that's behind.
There, Klitschko wanted to pull the trigger on a hook and didn't look like he had the juice to do it.
He's afraid to take those gambles, Max, because he's been safe for so long. He's afraid to gamble. He's never had to be a gamble-type fighter.
Wladimir Klitschko's last loss was 11 years ago. April 10, 2004 against Lehman Brewster. That was a different kind of loss. He's never lost a decision. Every previous loss has been by knockout.
Never ever lost a decision.
One more chance for Wladimir. Gets in a left hook.
He's trying.
This hugging isn't going to help.
No, but he's trying to fight for a chance. I mean, you got to give him credit. He tried.
Either the heavyweight championship of the world just changed hands, or we're about to witness a horrible robbery.
100%. Here's Tyson Fury, who may well have just become the heavyweight champion of the world, fulfilling a prophecy he says his parents made when they named him for Mike Tyson. There's a celebration in the center of the ring, centering entirely around the British fighter. And in Wladimir Klitschko's corner, they are nursing his wounds. In case it matters, let's take a look back at the round 11 point deduction. This was after several warnings during the fight for rabbit punching by Tyson Fury. And here he hits Wladimir in the back of the head, and Tony Weeks at that moment issues the 1 point penalty. But despite several rabbit punching incidents through the fight, Weeks did not get to the point of disqualification, taking ultimately only 1 point away from Tyson Fury.
And now we may see victory come out of retirement.
It was not an artistic performance by either fighter. It was a scratch and sniff kind of a fight, but Wladimir simply stood and looked way more often than Fury did. And Harold, show us your final unofficial scorecard.
Okay, so we got a 116, 111, 8-3, 1 even in favor of Tyson Fury. Like you said, round 11 becomes an even round because Tyson Fury won the round. Tony Weeks took away a point, so it becomes 9-9, an even round. But other than that, I mean, it was just Tyson Fury touching him, and Wladimir doing very, very little until the 12th round when he landed a couple of good shots. He started way too late. It was Fury piling up points throughout the fight.
Who are the three judges who scored the fight officially, Harold?
Okay, Jim. Let's take a look. Raul K. Sr. Now, you know, he's normally a referee. When he judged in California, he had Lucas Batiste beating Victor Postal at the time when Victor knocked out Lucas Batiste. And I got to tell you, Jim, I couldn't see that score no how. So this is a shaky call. Ramon Sedan, you know, a relative new guy. He only got 9 title fights. He's from Argentina, no notable fights. He's not related to France's great middleweight champion, Marcel Sedan. Cesar Ramos, a real good judge from Puerto Rico. As you see, 110 title fights. He had Sergey Kovalev ahead of Jean Pascal, 68-64 at the time that the fight was stopped in the 8th round. I think he'll do a good job. He's a good judge.
I'll have to make my Jesus now. Don't rob me in this country.
They're waiting a long time in the ring in Germany for the scores to be tabulated and announced.
In one guy's corner, they're saying you need a knockout to keep your title. In the other guy's corner, they're saying keep doing what you're doing. The punch stats that we saw throughout the fight saw Tyson Fury winning the fight. Harold Lederman has Tyson Fury way up. What's taking so long?
We go to the scorecards.
Here we go.
Cesar Ramos scores at 115 to 112. The same score from Raul Caiz Sr., 115-112. And Ramon Sedan scores at 116-111. All 3 scores to the winner by unanimous decision. From the United Kingdom, the new unified heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson.
So the heavyweight championship changes hands, and you have a real wild card now. Tyson Fury, one of the most unusual people ever to have competed for the championship, now holds it. He made a lot of outrageous statements in the build-up to the fight, including the ultimate one that Klitschko was a devil worshiper, and he was going to beat Klitschko to rid the heavyweight championship from a devil worshiper. Who knows what Fury will now say in post-fight celebration of his victory, but the scores were correct. He was clearly the winner, and he's now the heavyweight champ.
The scores were good. If they seemed a little close, it's because of the point deduction. The judges had it 8 rounds to 4, 8 rounds to 4, and 9 rounds to 3, and it was that kind of fight.
We are not in control of telecast mechanics there in Germany, so we will not be able to get post-fight interviews to you until later tonight when we bring you the replay version of this fight. So be sure to tune in tonight to hear the post-mortems from Germany on this tremendous upset as Tyson Fury becomes the heavyweight champ. Let's see about this.
You know what? I've got to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. In the power of Jesus, I won this in Germany tonight. You know, I came here to Germany in the Lion's Den to a great champion in Wladimir Klitschko. And my Lord, my Savior, my rock, my salvation, give me the glory tonight. In the mighty name of Jesus, I thank you. Amen.
And you had a real good plan for this fight.
Yeah.
How did you feel in the first rounds when you were aware that you had a chance, a real chance today?
You know, this is a dream come true. Me and my Uncle Peter here, we've worked so hard for this. You know, it's been 6 months and I've put everything in the gym for this and I just can't believe it that I've got it. Oh. Hey, I'm dedicated to I just want to dedicate this to my Uncle Huey. Yes!
Tyson Fury.
He started me from the beginning.
You look good coming in. You were really relaxed. When you seen the cut over his eye, did that spur you on a little bit more?
Well, Lennox, it did. You know, it's hard to come to foreign countries and get a decision. And it just means so much to me tonight to be here and get that decision. Because with that point off in the last round, I thought I wasn't going to get it, to be honest.
So when you noticed that, he was turning his head to the right a little bit, were you concerned that the referee gave you that point off for no reason?
As far as I'm concerned, he kept turning around and he kept turning away, and every time he got in, he pushed me down and try and like lean on me from above me. So I was trying to get the hook over the top, to be honest.
Meine Damen und Herren, der neue Weltmeister, Tyson Fury.
And now, yeah, hold that next, please.
And now,
listen, the fans, right? I just want to say that I've said some stupid things about Lennox Lewis in the past, but you know, it was all in tongue and cheek. You're a great champion, and there's my hand. Good man.
Thank you.
And anyway, I'd just like to say to Wladimir, you're a great champion, Vlad, and thanks very much for having me. And you know, it was all fun and games, and in the build-up, I just wanted to be confident, young and brash. We all were there sometimes. You know, when I promised everybody I'd sing a song after this fight. So this is to my UK fans, my Irish fans, my American fans, and my new German fans. And most of all, it's a dedication to my wife. I can lay awake just to see you breathing. Watch you smile while you were sleeping, while you're far away and dreaming. I could spend my life in the sweet surrender. I could stay lost in this moment forever. Every moment spent with you is a moment I treasure forever and ever. And I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep, 'cause I love you, babe, and I don't want to miss a thing. I love you, my wife.
Tyson Fury, meine Damen und Herren, hat noch Luft zu singen, und ich bin bei Wladimir Klitschko, dem die Enttäuschung
has a son named Prince and a daughter named Venezuela. Now let's listen to Wladimir.
Wladimir, nach diesem Kampf schon eine Erklärung dafür, warum es heute nicht funktioniert hat.
Ich war sehr gut vorbereitet.
Obviously, this interview is going to be taking place in German, so we will drop out from here. The post-fight song by Fury was, if not the strangest moment in the history of heavyweight championship fights, certainly one of them. Let's take a look at final CompuBox numbers from this not terribly entertaining fight, which became more entertaining as time went on because of the prospect of a giant upset and a changing of hands of the heavyweight championship. Wladimir Klitschko, over the course of 12 rounds, landed by CompuBox count 52 punches. That's 4.5 punches per round. An utterly dreadful effort by Klitschko. Fury didn't put together great numbers, but they were significantly better than those of Wladimir, as is the case right there. Total power punches, Wladimir Klitschko landing 1.5 power punches per round, Fury landing 4 per round. It winds up looking like a form of dominance as he threw 133 more power punches than Wladimir. That's 10 per round over the course of the fight. And this was not a terribly difficult fight to score. We were wondering if we would see a horrible miscarriage of justice in the final scores. We didn't. The judges got it right, and Fury was, in fact, the justifiable winner. And look, if you want to look at one thing which shows the downfall of Wladimir Klitschko in bold relief, 4 body shots. He landed 4 body shots in the entire fight. That's just not heavyweight championship stuff.
The reason that there's a lack of interest in the heavyweight division compared to how it used to be in this country is, 1, it's dominated on the international scene by non-American fighters, and 2, those punch stats you just saw. A heavyweight champion just lost his title on points over 12 rounds, having landed 4 body shots and 18 power punches.
All right, that'll do it for our coverage from Dusseldorf, Germany. Jim Lampley, again with Max Kellerman and Roy Jones, signing off now. Be sure to be with us tonight for the replay of this and Cotto Canelo. Boxing dominates the December calendar. HBO and our partners HBO Latino and True TV have a variety of excellent cards in the weeks to come. Plus, 2 December episodes of my show, The Fight Game, plus the year-end edition of Real Sports. Coming in 2016, a rematch of Sergey Kovalev against Jean Pascal. This was a real test for Kovalev the first time around. Later tonight, tune in for another look at Klitschko Fury, plus a replay of last Saturday night's matchup between Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. Now for my broadcast partners Roy Jones, Max Kellerman, and Harold Lederman, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long and thanks for watching.